You've been lied to. All your life, they told you to listen to her words, respond to her feelings, and be the understanding man. But here's the truth most men never hear. Her feelings don't matter, not in the way you think they do. Because when it comes to what a woman truly wants, she won't say it out loud. She'll test it, she'll feel it, she'll respond to it, but she'll rarely explain it. She says she wants a nice guy, but ends up with the one who doesn't ask for permission. She says communication is everything, but goes silent the second you show emotion. She tells you honesty is sexy until you show her your doubts, and she pulls away. So what does she actually want? Not words, not softness. She wants presence, power, certainty. She wants a man who doesn't crumble under her storms. One who leads, not reacts. One who listens with his eyes, not just his ears. This video isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming your masculine frame, understanding the primal language she responds to, even when she doesn't realize it herself. Because once you stop trying to decode her words and start watching her behavior, everything changes. Let's get into it. Number 1. Watch her actions, not her words. Let's get this straight. When it comes to understanding women, the first rule is simple: pay attention to what she does, not what she says. Now, this might sound harsh, might sound cold, but it's not. It's just the truth, and it will save you years of frustration. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Words are easy. Anyone can say, "I love you, I'm loyal, I'm not like other girls." But none of that means anything if her behavior doesn't back it up. You see, men fall into this trap all the time. You listen to her sweet promises, her emotional confessions, her poetic declarations, and you ignore the red flags right in front of your face. You excuse the disrespect. You overlook the flakiness. You rationalize the shift in energy. Why? Because she said all the right things. But actions don't lie. If she says she wants a serious relationship, but keeps texting her ex, that's her truth. If she claims she loves how calm and stable you are, but constantly tests your patience with drama, that's her message. If she tells you she values loyalty, but vanishes on weekends without explanation, that's the story you need to believe. And here's the kicker: she'll respect you more when you respond to her actions, not her words. When you call it out without yelling. When you walk away without begging. When you simply don't tolerate inconsistency, she notices. She might not admit it, but deep down, she feels it. You become a man with boundaries, a man who sees through the mask. Most women aren't trying to deceive you. It's not even conscious manipulation most of the time. It's emotional survival. It's them saying what they think you want to hear while doing what they actually feel. And the truth is, most men want to be lied to. They want the fantasy. They want to believe the story because it's easier than accepting reality. But you're not most men. You're watching this because something inside you knows better. Something in you is tired of being confused, tired of being hurt, tired of handing over your power to someone whose behavior doesn't deserve it. Stoic wisdom teaches us this: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. That applies here too. Don't keep asking her to clarify her feelings. Don't beg for explanations. Don't argue with her words. Just watch, observe, let her actions reveal her truth and respond accordingly. If she values your time, she'll show up. If she respects you, she won't test your boundaries. If she genuinely wants you, she'll make space in her life for you without you having to ask. And if she doesn't, then you've got your answer. See, the beauty in this mindset is that it sets you free. You no longer have to decode mixed signals. You no longer have to lose sleep wondering, what does it mean when she says X but does Y? You don't need a translator. You don't need to chase clarity. You just observe and act. This doesn't make you heartless. It makes you grounded, disciplined, masculine. Because a woman will only trust a man who trusts himself. A man who doesn't need constant reassurance. A man who doesn't get lost in emotional noise. A man who stands calmly at the center of the storm, watching, measuring, choosing. From now on, every time you're tempted to believe what she says, ask yourself one thing. What is she doing? Is it congruent? Is it respectful? Is it aligned with what you value? If not, don't argue. Don't try to fix it. Don't get emotional. Just pull back. Let her actions speak, and let your silence answer. That's how you protect your frame. That's how you stop being played. And that's how you earn respect without having to raise your voice or prove anything. Remember, her words are a story. Her actions are her truth. Trust the truth. Now, if that hit a nerve, I want you to lock this in by dropping a comment right now. I trust what I see. And don't go anywhere, because what we're about to get into next, it'll flip the way you understand female desire on its head. Stay with me. Number 2, her desires live in behavior, not emotion. Let's clear something up, because a lot of guys get this twisted. Women will tell you how they feel, and you'll think that's the whole story. But what they feel in the moment and what they actually want long-term, two different things. And if you keep chasing her emotions instead of observing her behavior, you're gonna keep getting blindsided. Women are emotional creatures, yes, we all know that. But here's what matters. Emotion is temporary. Emotion changes. It fluctuates based on the music she's listening to, the conversation she had with her coworker, or the dream she had last night. You can't build your reality on that kind of chaos. But her behavior, that's where the truth lives. That's where the pattern shows up. That's where you see what she actually wants, what she actually values. Let me give you a real-world example. A woman might say she wants a nice guy, a good listener, sensitive, someone who puts her on a pedestal. Sounds sweet, right? But then, who does she text at 2 a.m.? Who does she obsess over? 9 times out of 10, it's the guy who doesn't cater to her every mood. The guy who's focused on his purpose. The guy who sets boundaries. Because here's what you've got to understand. Women are not turned on by what they emotionally appreciate. They are turned on by what triggers behavioral instinct. And that instinct is drawn to confidence, to masculinity, to groundedness, not to being agreeable. Now, she might cry and tell you she misses you, but has she shown up? Has she changed her pattern? Or is it just an emotional release she wants from you without actually earning your presence again? See the difference? Stoicism teaches us that emotions are to be observed, not obeyed. And that's not just about your emotions. That applies to hers too. You don't base decisions on a woman's temporary feelings. You base decisions on consistent action, on repetition, on what she returns to when no one is watching. And once you stop reacting to every tear, every mood swing, every confession of, "I just feel like I'm losing you," you regain your power. Because now, you're no longer being emotionally manipulated. You're being stoic. You're rooted. You're seeing the world clearly. And I'll tell you what else: when you shift your focus from emotion to behavior, your entire mindset changes. You stop asking, "What is she feeling?" and you start asking, "What is she doing?" You stop getting thrown off by how intense her words sound, and you start noticing whether her actions line up. Let's go deeper. A woman can cry on cue. She can tell you you're the only one and still have backup options on her phone. She can say she respects you and still test you constantly to see if she can push your limits. That's not evil. That's human nature. That's self-preservation. Women are wired for survival, and emotion is a tool, but behavior reveals the truth. So stop reacting to noise. Start watching patterns. Start asking, when she's stressed, does she come closer or pull away? When she's happy, does she include you in her joy or keep it for herself? When she's making decisions, are you part of the plan or just an accessory to the vibe? Her true desires live in those answers. And don't just watch her behavior in the good moments. Watch how she acts when she's uncomfortable, when she doesn't get her way, when you say no. Because that's when the mask drops. that's when the real wants show up. A woman's desire isn't just about butterflies or poetic words, it's about where she invests her energy, her time, her attention. That's the currency of real interest. And if that's not lining up with her emotional outbursts, you've got your answer. So if you want to stop being confused by women, you have to stop getting seduced by their emotions and start getting curious about their behavior. That's where the real story lives. Her behavior is her truth. Her emotion is her theater. And if you play this right, if you hold your center, watch calmly, and respond only to truth, she'll chase you not for how you make her feel in the moment, but for how you anchor her in reality. Now, if that landed with you, if you've been burned by believing feelings over facts, drop this in the comments. I read her behavior. And whatever you do, don't miss what comes next, because the next truth is what separates men who get played from the men who quietly own the game. Let's go. Number 3. When she says nice guy, she means boring. Let's just rip the band-aid off. If a woman ever tells you, you're such a nice guy, and you're not dating her, sleeping with her, or even being seriously pursued by her, she doesn't mean it as a compliment. She means you're safe, sweet and forgettable. You don't spark something deeper. You don't challenge her. You don't move her. And here's the brutal truth most men avoid. Nice isn't attractive. It's unthreatening. It's neutral. It's comfortable. But it doesn't ignite anything. And attraction is not about comfort. It's about polarity. It's about tension. It's about energy. Think about it. When a woman's body language is alive, when she leans in, touches her hair, lowers her voice, and maintains that lingering eye contact, she's not responding to nice. She's responding to dominance, to decisiveness, to unpredictability. She's responding to masculine tension. And that's what the nice guy doesn't bring. He listens, he agrees, he tries hard not to offend. He's hyper-aware of her emotions. And you know what? That's not bad if you're aiming to be her therapist. But if you're aiming to be her man, you just lost the game. Now listen, I'm not telling you to be an a-hole. That's not the goal. This isn't about going full alpha jerk. But if your primary identity is nice, you've already disqualified yourself from being desirable. Because she doesn't crave a man who's easy to decode. She craves a man who makes her feel something real. And that comes from edge, not ease. Stoicism teaches us to be grounded, to be composed. But don't confuse that with being soft. Being stoic isn't about suppressing power, it's about owning it without leaking it. That's what the nice guy never learned. He thinks emotion management means appeasement. He thinks validation is the same thing as connection. It's not. What she's drawn to is contrast. She wants a man who listens but doesn't apologize for his truth, who can be kind but never simps, who can stay calm but won't tolerate disrespect. And the nice guy, he tolerates everything because his fear of losing her is louder than his desire to be respected. Here's where this gets dangerous. A lot of women keep nice guys around for comfort, for ego boosts, for emotional support. He becomes the one she vents to after the man who actually excites her goes cold. She gives him the crumbs of emotional connection while saving her passion for the one who doesn't need her approval. She'll say things like, "You're such a good guy, I don't want to mess this up," or "I'm just not ready right now." And the nice guy eats it up, thinking he's close, but she's not on the fence. She's using him for the warmth, while keeping her fire lit somewhere else. And here's the twist. Even if she does give in, even if she does date the nice guy out of guilt or timing or convenience, it's never deep. It's never electric. It's obligation, not obsession. And eventually, that crashes. Because no woman can fake attraction for long, not even to herself. You want to escape that trap? You have to kill the nice guy inside you. Start setting boundaries. Start saying no. Start making decisions based on your values, not her moods. Be kind, but don't be compliant. Be attentive, but don't be available 24/7. Be interested, but stay centered. Because the moment she sees you can walk away, the moment she senses you don't need her to feel whole, that's the moment she starts to feel something real. Women don't want a man who's trying to be their everything. They want a man who already is something and chooses them anyway. So the next time you hear, "You're such a nice guy," pause and ask yourself, is she pulled in by my presenter, just grateful for my politeness? Because if it's the latter, brother, it's time to step back and reframe who you're showing up as. Now, if you've ever been put in the nice guy box and you felt that sting, drop this in the comments. I stopped being safe. And trust me, the next truth we unpack will flip your entire approach to women upside down. You'll see the game for what it really is, and more importantly, how to stop being a piece on her board. Let's keep going. Number 4. Emotion is her language, not her logic. Let's get one thing straight when a woman speaks. She's not always trying to be right. She's trying to be felt. She's expressing how something lands inside her, not how it measures up on a spreadsheet. If you approach a woman's emotions with logic first, you're already losing. That's not the arena she's playing in. And it's not because she's irrational. It's because she's operating from emotion as her native language. This is where most men trip. She says something like, "You don't care about me," and immediately your brain goes, "What? That's not true. I did this and that, and I was there last night." So, you start listing facts, defending your case like a lawyer in court. Wrong move. Because now you're speaking Chinese to someone thinking in Italian. You have to understand, when a woman says something emotionally charged, it's not about the literal meaning of the words. It's about the feeling behind them. That phrase, "You don't care about me," isn't a statement, it's a signal. It means, "Right now, I feel distant from you," or "I need more reassurance, more presence." If you meet that signal with cold analysis, you confirm her fear that you don't get her. But if you pause, hold space, look at her and say, "What's making you feel that way?" Or, "Tell me what's really going on inside you right now," you're speaking her language. And suddenly, you're no longer defending yourself. You're making her feel understood. Now, here's where the Stoic part kicks in. Stoicism isn't about shutting down emotions, it's about not being ruled by them. You need to hold your center when she storms. Not react, not fix, not absorb, but observe. Be the eye in her hurricane, because her storm isn't an attack, it's a test. She's testing to see, can you handle the full weight of me, or do I have to shrink to keep you comfortable? Too many men crack under that emotional pressure. They either argue back or shut down completely. One fights her with logic, the other ghosts her with silence. Both fail the test. The man who passes, he listens without losing his grounding. He validates her emotions without needing to agree with them. That's high-level masculine energy. That's emotional leadership. And don't get it twisted, this doesn't mean being her emotional punching bag. If her emotions cross the line into manipulation or disrespect, you walk calmly, decisively. But most of the time, it's not manipulation. It's just her trying to be heard in a language you haven't been taught to understand. Think of it like this. A woman speaks in waves. Her words rise and fall, full of energy, rhythm, nuance. You can't meet that with a brick wall. You meet it with presence, with grounded curiosity, with a refusal to be pulled, but a willingness to witness. You don't need to solve her. You need to see her. And when she feels seen, her storm dissolves. That's the paradox. She calms, not because you fixed her, but because you didn't flinch. This is where power lives. She's not drawn to men who argue well. She's drawn to men who don't crumble when her heart gets loud. Men who hear the music in the chaos and stay seated at the table. That's the guy she trusts. That's the guy she respects. And yeah, that's the guy she chases. So next time she comes at you emotional, don't flinch, don't argue, don't retreat. Anchor yourself. Watch. Listen. Feel the message underneath the words. Now, if you've ever made the mistake of trying to fix a woman's feelings with facts and you're ready to lead with calm instead of control, drop this in the comments. I listen without losing me. And what's coming next? Let's just say we're about to flip one of the most common myths about what women really want in a man. You'll see why strength isn't always loud and why silence can say everything. Let's keep going. Number 5. She'll test you, not tell you. Here's a truth most men never learn until it's too late. A woman won't always tell you what she wants, but she will absolutely test to see if you've figured it out. She won't say, "I need you to be more assertive," or "I'm craving your leadership." She'll throw a curveball, push your boundary, maybe even pull away emotionally just to see what you do. Because deep down, she's not just watching your words, she's watching your frame. And that's the thing about these tests, they're not always conscious. She's not scheming, sitting there with a checklist. Her feminine instinct just feels whether your center is solid, or if you crumble the moment she adds a little emotional heat. Maybe she gets snappy over something small. Maybe she cancels plans last minute. Maybe she brings up another guy, casually. These aren't just mood swings, they're subconscious pressure checks. She's feeling you out. Are you grounded, or are you reactive? Are you a man who needs her approval, or a man who owns his space with or without it? And the average guy, he fails, miserably. He tries to fix her mood, win her back, explain himself, over-apologize, prove his worth. But the more he does that, the more she retreats. Because now she doesn't see a leader, she sees a follower. The Stoic man, high-value man, understands this. He knows a test isn't a threat, it's an opportunity. It's her saying, "Can I trust you to be stronger than me when I get emotional? Can I feel safe letting go into your frame?" If your answer to that is emotional overreaction, she gets her answer too. And it's not the one you want. Let me be clear. This doesn't mean you ignore her. It means you stay unshaken. You acknowledge her emotion without becoming a slave to it. You don't need to argue. You don't need to lecture. You just don't break. One of the most powerful things you can say to a woman when she tests you is nothing at all. Sometimes silence is strength. Sometimes a slow look and steady energy is louder than 1,000 explanations. That's the language of dominance. That's masculine energy that doesn't flinch. Because when she sees you stay solid in the face of her storm, something shifts. Respect, attraction, safety, it all snaps into place. She might not say it out loud, but she feels it in her gut. He's not like the others. This is the hidden game most men never get taught. They expect women to give instructions, to spell things out. But feminine energy doesn't operate in bullet points. It dances, it flows, it throws heat and waits to see if you melt. So if you're the guy constantly wondering, why didn't she just say what she meant? You're missing it. The deeper truth is, she was saying it. You just weren't listening with your eyes. Now here's the kicker. The better you get at holding frame, the more she'll test you. Not because she doesn't love you, but because she wants to know the strength she's falling for is real, not performative. She needs to know the man in front of her can handle both her softness and her fire. That's the paradox. Tests aren't meant to destroy you. They're meant to reveal you, to forge you. They're invitations to rise, not reasons to run. So stop taking it personal. Stop folding under pressure. Start welcoming the tests as the very thing that builds your credibility in her eyes. And if you've ever passed up that moment, if you've ever failed a test by chasing her approval instead of commanding her respect, then make it real right now. Drop this in the comments. I passed the test. Because what's coming next isn't just about holding your ground, it's about flipping the script entirely and showing her that when she pushes, you don't just stand firm, you lead. Let's keep going. Number 6. If you ask what she wants, you've already lost. Let's break something down right now, something that most men have been conditioned to believe since childhood. Just ask her what she wants. Communicate. Be sensitive. Be understanding. Sounds mature, right? Wrong. In relationships, especially romantic ones, when it comes to desire, asking what she wants isn't maturity. It's weakness masquerading as virtue. And deep down, she feels it. Because here's the brutal truth. If you have to ask her what she wants from you as a man, you're not the man she wants in the first place. Now, before you get defensive, listen. This isn't about being mind readers. It's about energy, polarity, leadership. The masculine leads, the feminine responds. That's the dance of attraction. That's the law of polarity that governs human desire, whether we like it or not. When you say, "Babe, what do you want me to do? Just tell me what you want," it might seem like open communication on the surface. But what she hears, what she feels is this: you don't know what to do. You're unsure of yourself. You need her to guide you. And the moment she feels like she has to lead you into being a man, her attraction for you starts bleeding out. You become the student, not the force. The boy, not the man. The one who needs to be told, not the one she trusts to lead. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about ignoring her feelings. This isn't about bulldozing her wants. It's about reading the room, holding frame, and acting from intention, not hesitation. It's about moving with purpose, with vision, with quiet certainty. Let's say you're planning a date. The weak man asks, "What do you want to do tonight?" He thinks he's being nice, but he's just being passive. What she really wants is this: be ready at 7, wear something black. I've got something special lined up. Boom. That's presence. That's direction. That's what makes her melt. Why? Because she doesn't want to be the compass. She wants to feel safe following your lead. She wants to know you've got this, even if she pushes back, even if she gives you a little attitude about it. That's just her testing your direction. She needs to feel you're solid in your decision, even when she throws emotional fog. So when you're constantly asking, constantly trying to please, constantly needing her input to function, you're not being her partner. You're becoming her emotional employee. You're not leading the relationship. You're outsourcing it to her approval. And that doesn't make her feel loved. That makes her feel tired. Now, I get it, some of you were raised to believe being a good guy meant being endlessly accommodating. But good intentions don't build attraction. Strength does. Vision does. A centered man who makes moves, not requests. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of the most stoic minds in history, said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You don't ask permission to lead, you just lead. And look, if you're sitting there thinking, "But I just want to make sure she's happy," understand this: her happiness is not the same as her desire. Desire doesn't come from everything going her way. It comes from you being a force she trusts 7 when she disagrees with you. So no, don't ask her what she wants all the time. Show her what you bring. Own your moves. Let her respond. That's how you create polarity. That's how you keep her chasing you instead of managing your energy. Now, if that hits a nerve, if you've ever caught yourself begging for direction when you should have been giving it, then drop this in the comments right now. I lead with intention. Because what's coming next? It's about something even deeper. Not just what you say, but what you radiate. Let's go. Number 7. She craves your strength, not your sensitivity. This is one of the most misunderstood truths in modern dating, and if you don't get this, you'll spend your life trying to be the kind of man she says she wants, instead of the one she actually desires. Let's cut through the noise. She doesn't want your tears. She doesn't want you venting every emotion the second you feel it. She doesn't want a man who collapses under pressure just to prove he's emotionally available. What she craves, what lights up every primal instinct in her body, is your strength. Not the strength that flexes, the strength that holds, the kind that calms the storm without needing to name it. Now hear me clearly, I'm not saying you have to be some cold, robotic wall. This isn't about shutting down. This is about anchoring. It's about being the steady flame, not the flickering candle in the wind. You see, men today have been sold this idea that being in touch with your feelings means broadcasting them constantly. That vulnerability equals emotional oversharing, that if you don't cry in front of her, you're somehow failing to connect. But real vulnerability isn't spilling your pain to get a reaction. It's facing your struggle and still showing up composed, still leading, still grounded, still you. Because here's what no one wants to say out loud. When a woman sees you break down too often, when you become emotionally messy in front of her, something shifts inside her. Her respect quietly erodes. Her polarity flips. She starts becoming the emotional protector, the leader. And just like that, attraction dies. Now, she might tell you otherwise. She might say, I want you to open up more. I want to know everything you feel. But the truth is, what she wants intellectually isn't what her body responds to. Her body responds to a man who feels deeply but doesn't need her to carry his burden. A man who has his own internal compass. A man who can walk through fire without begging for sympathy. That's strength. That's masculine gravity. That's what makes her feel safe and turned on. And it's not just attraction we're talking about. It's trust. Can you be leaned on? Can you hold the frame when life hits hard? Can you protect her from the world and from the parts of yourself that haven't healed yet? This is where Stoicism enters the room. Because a Stoic man doesn't ignore emotion. He masters it. He watches it rise like a wave, but he doesn't drown in it. He's aware of his feelings, but not enslaved by them. That kind of man doesn't need to prove his strength. It radiates from how he walks, how he breathes, how he handles chaos with quiet precision. When a woman says, you never talk about your feelings, what she's often sensing is not a lack of emotion, but a lack of presence. Your strength has to come with depth. She needs to feel that you're alive inside, not just armored. But again, this is not a license to cry in her lap every time life gets hard. That's what your brotherhood is for. Your tribe, your mission. You process there, so you can show up here as a man she trusts with her safety, emotional, physical, spiritual. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you're struggling career, money, mental weight, and you sit down with her and say, I'm lost, I don't know who I am, I'm scared, I need you to fix me. You've just flipped the polarity. She's now your rescuer, not your partner. Now flip that. You sit down and say, I've got a lot on my plate right now. I'm working through it. I've got a plan. You don't need to worry. Just letting you know where my energy is. Boom. Same emotional reality, completely different masculine posture. One drains her, the other grounds her. And that's the power of true strength. It doesn't suppress, it contains. It doesn't collapsate, calibrates. She doesn't need your full emotional breakdown. She needs to know you can hold yourself, because then she can relax into her own feminine. Now, if that truth lands hard, if you've ever watched attraction fade the more emotionally open you tried to be thin, drop this in the comments right now. I lead with calm, because what's coming next will take everything we've built and flip the script again. Stay sharp. Number 8. When you stop chasing, she starts choosing. Let's make this clear: chasing is a trap. Not because pursuit is bad, but because chasing implies imbalance. It means you're running after something that's not moving toward you. And the moment a woman senses that dynamic, her interest shifts from curiosity to control. Now here's the paradox. When you stop chasing, when you let go of the outcome, when you step back not as a game, but as a statement of self-worth, that's when her choosing mechanism activates. Women are biologically wired to select, not pursue. The chase is not what ignites attraction. The mystery does. The value. The fact that you are not emotionally desperate. When you stop orbiting her like a lost satellite, she begins to wonder, wait, why isn't he texting? Why isn't he pushing? Who's getting his attention now? That space, that silence, that's the gravity she feels. That's the tension that pulls her in. And here's where Stoicism comes into play. A Stoic man doesn't chase because he doesn't need her validation to feel whole. He's grounded, purposeful. His attention is valuable, and he doesn't hand it out like candy. When he walks away, he means it. When he stays, it's by choice, not addiction. This shift changes everything. You're no longer reacting. You're no longer seeking approval. You flip the frame, and now she's making the move. Remember, distance isn't rejection, it's revelation. It shows you where the real desire lives. If she moves toward you, now you know. If she doesn't, you just saved yourself from a one-sided performance. So if you've ever felt like you were doing too much and getting too little, take a breath. Pull back. Let her feel the gap. That's where the truth shows up. And if this resonates, if you're ready to flip that energy right now, type it in the comments. I don't chase, I choose. Because what happens in the silence after you stop chasing is exactly what we're exploring next. Stay tuned. Number 9. Control the frame, control the game. Here's something most men never get taught. The one who controls the frame controls the dynamic. It's not about manipulation, it's about reality. The frame is the lens through which the relationship plays out. And if you're not setting it, she is. A man without a frame is constantly reacting. He's on her timeline. Her mood dictates his. Her emotions become his compass. And guess what? That's exhausting for both of you. Women don't want to lead the emotional direction. They want to feel safe in your certainty, not your aggression, not control, your grounded presence. When you walk into any interaction with a clear frame defined by self-respect, boundaries, and a calm sense of purpose, you shift everything. She now knows this man doesn't chase chaos. He doesn't fold under pressure. He stands for something. That's the magnetic pull. Not bravado, not fake alpha posturing, just clarity. And here's the Stoic layer. Controlling the frame isn't about dominating her, it's about mastering yourself. Emotions don't dictate your state. You remain unshaken. That steadiness becomes the emotional anchor she tests, trusts, and eventually follows. You want to know the real game? It's not about lines. It's not about tactics. It's about who defines the emotional rules without ever needing to say them out loud. That's what real power looks like. So if you're tired of being played off, feeling like you're always one emotional step behind, it's time to stop trying to win her over and start owning the frame. And if this hit home, lock it in right now in the comments. I lead the frame. And coming up next, we close the loop. Stay locked in. Number 10. Respect is sexier than validation. You want to know what really turns a woman on? It's not compliments. It's not gifts. It's not bending over backward to make her happy. It's respect. Not just the respect you give her, but the respect you demand for yourself. See, validation seeking is weak energy. It tells her you're unsure, that you need her approval to feel whole. And once she senses that, she might smile, she might even say thank you, but she's not going to crave you. Because craving comes from tension, from edge, from admiration. And there is nothing admirable about a man who doesn't respect himself. When you walk through the world with quiet certainty, when your words match your actions, when you say no without fear, and you don't explain your every move just to be liked, you instantly shift how she sees you. Validation says, I need you to like me. Respect says, I already like myself. You can come along for the ride or not. And that's what sparks desire, not neediness, but independence. Not pleasing, but being. This is the core of Stoic masculinity. You don't chase emotions. You don't trade integrity for approval. You live by your principles. You honor your values. And you understand this. Being respected isn't just more powerful than being liked. It's a hell of a lot more attractive. So, if you've been chasing attention, hoping it turns into affection, stop. Build your character. Honor your path. and let your presence speak louder than any compliment ever could. Now, if you feel that shift inside you right now, lock it in with this comment: I choose respect over approval. That wraps it up for today's video. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're evolving. This isn't about playing games with women. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that nothing shakes your frame. If that's the kind of growth you're after, don't just watch in silence. Subscribe to the channel right now, because this is where men come to level up. And if you're ready to go deeper, to connect with a brotherhood of stoic-minded men committed to strength, clarity, and truth, join our private stoic community today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you right here tomorrow.